Many of the railroads back then were rivals, but some of the other railroads were friendly rivals that worked with each other. The Union Pacific and Southern Pacific was one of them. Not to mention some of the other railroads worked with them as well. The Northern Pacific was also a friendly rival to the Southern Pacific, but their rivals were the Great Northern Railway and the Union Pacific itself. But they got along well. Despite them of having grudges, some engines from other railroads got along well. Some railroads from the Western Pacific, Rio Grande, and many other railroads out in the West got along with the Southern Pacific well. A lot of the engines got along well with some of the engines. Even though there were fights and arguments in some of the yards with some of the rival engines, some other engines got along well. And all the engines agree on one thing: don't let their controller down and make sure their company keeps on going and making sure their company still runs. One morning, Mr. Stanford asked Alan to take a heavy boxcar train all the way to Wyoming. But Alan was having trouble getting the freight cars to behave, and because of this, he had to take a break. He didn't know which engine would come to help, but dispatch radioed that a Union Pacific big boy would be coming to help Alan double head. Alan hoped that this engine would be friendly. I really do hope this engine will be friendly because I need a lot of the help I can get. I really don't want to be late. I don't want to let my railroad down. But Alan would find out soon enough who his help was. A Union Pacific big boy number 4015 rolled up next to Alan.
Hey kid, you doing okay?
No. I don't think I can pull this train on my own. You're strong enough to help me?
Don't worry about a thing, kid. Besides, I handle heavy trains all the time.
Thank you. I'm Alan.
Name's Brutus, kid. Brutal Brutus. But please, call me Brutus.
Okay. Brutus, can you help me with this train, please?
No problem, Alan. I'll help you. I'll get you all the way to Cheyenne in no time. You don't need to do the hard work. Just leave it to me. Besides, you know my brother Bruce. He's my big brother.
Yeah, I know. Can we get going, please?
Sure, no problem, kid. Just sit back and relax while I do the hard work. Besides, we always have to work together to get through any situation.
Brutus switched on to Alan's track and was coupled up.
Alright, kid. You ready back there?
Yeah, I'm ready, Brutus. Let's get going.
Then let's roll, kid.
With a mighty heave, Brutus pulled Alan and the entire train out of the yard. Brutus arrived at Cheyenne, Wyoming. They were stationed to wait until they could head back home. Brutus and Alan were happy that they got their job done.
Really gotta tell you, kid, you really know how to pull a heavy train.
No, but we steam locomotives are really powerful. I'm sure nothing else can stop us. Just then, an unfamiliar horn sound blared through the area. It wasn't anything like a steam whistle the other engines heard before. Just then, a little switcher rolled into the yard. It had a boxy square shape, and it wasn't like any steam locomotive. This was a different locomotive that the engines never saw before. Wait, who are you? Chatford. And I am the newer generation of locomotives. I'm a diesel locomotive. Southern Pacific 2309 at your service. What is even going on? I think I can explain, Alan. Daylight rolled into the yard. He had a very serious look on his face. Jack Warhead told me that a newer generation of locomotives are coming. Diesel locomotives. They're less expensive to operate and more efficient to run. They're a lot more cheaper. And they're revolutionary from what I heard. I believe that some diesels do have faults, but they are coming in to help with the workload, though. Wait a minute, Daylight! You and Bruce knew about this?
I never even knew we were getting diesels. But why diesel locomotives?
That's because we're less expensive to operate. And because they were coming in, we're coming in to take your place. Why are you saying that? Isn't that a rumor? It's not a rumor. It's a fact. You old steamers are getting old and worn out. The newer generation of locomotives is on the way. David, that's enough from you. All right, I'll stop. Jeez. What does this mean about the diesels? Are they replacing us? Some of the other diesels don't mean to be rude or really disrespectful to us, Alan. But railroads are wanting to modernize some parts of the line so that way things will run more efficiently. Hopefully the diesels are not going to replace all of us. There is a chance we are going to be preserved. I don't know. I really don't know, Alan. I hope you're right about that, Daylight. I hope a lot of us steamers will be preserved. Now that a newer generation of locomotives were revealed, diesel locomotives are coming in. Daylight hopes that he and his friends will get along with the diesels. Only time will tell. But the diesels have an unknown future ahead of them. But I mustn't say any more, because I'll spoil the next story.